Sorry, there was a cut there. Something happened real quick. It was just a really quick event. Didn't mean to distract you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. God damn it, my heart's beating really fast. Gotta take some few deep breaths, but I'm gonna talk like ASMR or whatever, just to calm myself down. But like what I was saying, I think that teachers, they have their own philosophy, their own set of morals that they're taught based off how they're like, or whatever. I think it's a job, and like all jobs, you learn it. So they have education, they learn how kids develop, they learn how probably different kids are, and as a result, I feel like because of this, they learn what they are taught, especially through like textbooks or whatever they are in university. Again, this is my guess. I'm no teacher, so I think as a result, they do have their morals, they do know what they're doing, but I think the thing is because they are taught how to teach, sometimes what they are taught probably won't apply to what they'd rather do. I think this is what I notice, but I notice sometimes teachers act in a way where they're uncomfortable, and I think what's happening is I think that they have certain, I guess, layout stuff that's layout to them. I actually talked to some of them, and they told me that they have rules, and that's when certain things happen, they disagree with the rules, but it's like that's kind of a part of it as a teacher, and I feel like this is another thing I think. Like, it's the same thing with the rules here. There's times where we have to follow our rules, and the rules that is set to us is because of, like, I guess, social standards, and how some of these rules and boundaries could actually lead to many problems. But the thing is that some of these rules limit us, and because when we follow these rules, including invisible ones, we actually might disagree with them. I think this happens in social standards. Like, if there's a situation where you notice that, like, I can't think of one off the bat, I'm not good with examples, but if there's any situation where you and many others know you have to follow a social standard and you know why, but you just don't agree with it, it's kind of like that. This is my guess. I'm no guy for teachers, and I actually talked to some of them, and they expressed that they like, because there's times where they actually talk to me about it. It's personal. I don't want to like get too much into it, and I guess when I think about social activism, maybe I'm thinking about, maybe I'll look into that in the future. Maybe I'm looking into ways where we could like change the rules, because I think that lots of times teachers aren't bad. I think when there's usually is bullying in schools, or usually when there's things where people just don't feel good with their teachers, is because again the teachers have what is their job. They're following what is their set of rules, and I think the ones that are grumpy are usually just the ones that's been there for years. Obviously they're gonna be like that. They get used to that shit. If you spend 30 years in a classroom with kids yelling at you all the goddamn time, I think that's gonna drive you insane. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to put myself in their perspective, even though I am. I'm saying that because I feel like sometimes I do. When I go to school, I feel really tired when I'm around that kind of noise. But I don't know. When I'm around that kind of noise, I automatically am thinking, imagine being one of my teachers, doing that for like 10, 20 years. Because, I don't know. It also brings me to the other topic of trying to relate to where someone's going through versus experiencing it, and also being aware of it. I think I'm doing a bit of both. I've been experiencing it and trying to relate that by trying to put the pain together, even though I'm not actually a teacher myself. I'm getting super complicated into this whole kind of shit, stick, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean, right? So it's like, I don't know. I guess I think about that. And I don't think there's actually corruption. I just think that, like, usually when it comes to schools, because we have certain rules and certain standards, obviously they're not going to be there to help. I think it's the same thing with bullying. I think that the government has set out things of, like, stopping bullying because we know bullying is bad. I do think, this is my opinion, I'm no government, I don't know, but I do think maybe they could actually do more to support the bullying. I just think because of, it's the government's job, and because, like, there's many different school systems and stuff, we only set certain rules that are helpful, certain boundaries or whatever that we use to stop bullying. They're not going to 100% stop it. I feel like that's the thing with schools and many other systems, is that we acknowledge the problems because we know those problems exist, and I do think that we could do more to help it. But as a result, because we're not the ones that like make all these rules, it's the government that like does the school for us. I'm getting like super like theoretical or whatever the hell. I just feel like that's what I think. Like, I go to school and I feel like I notice things where, in my opinion, I feel like the teachers are actually in moments where they can't do anything. Not because they're dumb or not because they don't want to help the kids. They're aware, but I feel like it's because they have certain rules and certain standards. I notice there's times where kids are mad at the teachers, like, you say this and that about no bullying. You say that we can't bully and now we're in trouble. You say that if someone bullies us, we have to stand back, and now I'm standing up to myself and I'm in trouble for standing up. And they're like, well, the thing is, you can't hit another kid. I don't know. You guys know that. Like, whenever you're at school and you notice, like, teachers are always like, you can't let bullying happen. You stand up for yourself. But they don't really say stand up for yourself. They always say tell another teacher. I think that's also because of the rules. And then when you do stand up to yourself, you also get in trouble. Not because I think the teachers are douches, but because of the set of rules that is there. They're trying to stop the problem. When I'm saying they, I think the government or whatever. I feel like it's not... I don't know. So when I notice teachers are getting, like, questioned by other kids, where people are like, you say we can do this and that, and this and that, and it's, like, contradicting and stuff, but, like, when we fight back, we get in trouble. They always answer by answering with the rules. Well, you see, you can't do that with another kid. You have to say, I feel. And the kids get mad when the teachers are like, well, you can't do that because, you're not saying it nicely. Obviously. But I feel like what's happening is that the teachers keep repeating this because that's the rules they're given. That's their instructions. Again, this is my understanding of it. So if I wanted to be a social activist, I definitely wouldn't be the right person in that position because I don't know everything about it. That's just what I think. Sometimes I'm at school and I don't know. Though it's my opinion, it hurts me because it feels so real. Because when I had the idea that teachers aren't doing this because they're dumb, they're just following the set of rules that they're given to them as a teacher for their jobs, it makes it much more painful to hear kids argue with them. Like, especially when you're on both sides, when you agree with the kids, because the kids are right. Like, it's like sometimes they can't stand back, they kind of let the bullies keep bullying, but they can't really do anything about it because the teachers aren't, like, making you stand up. They just kind of make it where, like, the kid needs space, etc., etc. And I feel like when you see, or when I think is both sides, again, this is what I think. This doesn't mean I'm right. It makes it painful. And I feel like that's another reason why I think about being a social activist. And this is where I also like, separating myself from others. Because, again, I'm no Martin Luther King. I'm no Gandhi. I haven't experienced this myself. This is only what I am seeing, what I am viewing. I'm a spectator. And as a mere spectator, I have my own opinions on it. And I don't know. I guess that's why I want to make YouTube videos about it. Because I like to share my opinions on these things. So, that's just kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know. I've been thinking about that while I was in the bath because I was thinking I would like to be one, but I don't think it's my place, especially when I'm not one to stand up for all teachers, all students, especially when I don't know all of the experience. I don't know. I'm getting really political with this. It reminds me, I might talk about this another time, but I might talk about the political debate between Joe Biden and Trump because I guess what I love is what I think is politics, and it might not. This is just, I like thinking about stuff like that. And when I watched the Joe Biden and Trump debate, I had opinions on it. I didn't make a video because I didn't think it was my place. But everyone's making a video about it, and I feel like, you know what? I would like to do that, but I'm going to do that another time. Before I keep going, I do want to say, I know I haven't posted in a while, and I haven't made any rap videos or whatever. That's because I'm currently working on a project, if you know what I mean. And it's currently exporting, or to be specific, it's rendering, if anyone knows what I'm talking about. So it's going to take a few days, and because of that, I'm just going to record on my iPad, and I'm not going to be able to post any more But I Rap this videos for a while, maybe a few days. It's already been a few days, but I think in total it might just be a week or so, and then I'll be done with that or whatever. And then, yeah, once the project is finished, I think I'll post it, and then I'll do the other videos where I do stuff on my computer. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Also about social activism, I don't know, I'm thinking a lot about it. I want to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. And I don't know, man. It feels like random that Goody Drew, kid that just makes raps videos, is thinking about it. I'm like trying to put myself in the perspective of the viewer that's going nuts as they're noticing some kid just that talks about random shit now, like going all political. But I don't know. When I was in the bath, again, I was thinking about this over and over. When you want to be an activist, you aren't really one. Usually, sometimes you're just one that views it versus someone that's experienced it and knows, and you speak on behalf of all the people. And I guess a really good example of it is Martin Luther King Jr. I feel like when I was, like in sixth grade or whatever, I learned about him, and because I still am like this. I don't know much actual genuine social norms. When I was young, I always disobeyed them. I would be known as rude, sometimes a bully, because I was a fucking idiot. Not because I was a bully because I thought it was fun. I was just a fucking idiot. So it kind of made me a bad bully as well in the end. I was just there being dumb as fuck. I was just being a stupid kid. And whatever the heck. Stop saying these notifications, dog. Anyway, but yeah, and I feel like because of that, I later realized that all the stuff I did were bad and I had to learn boundaries. I just didn't trust myself, so whenever I heard what was good, I tried to listen and put myself in that perspective. And I know I'm not the only one. Many people do that. So when I heard about Martin Luther King Jr., I didn't really understand why. I remember I used to say really bad things about him when I was young, and I would just think, okay, he's good because he is a minority and he's speaking on majority. So then I talk about him because I want to know what it's like, for what people to understand what is good, I guess, in our society. I'm getting really political with this shit, like what the fuck, or whatever the hell. And I feel like back then, I would think it's good because I hear it's good. I'm trying to put myself in that perspective by thinking. When I know something is good, when I'm told something is good, and when I mean me, I speak on behalf of all of y'all, because when we think and know what a quality is we're looking for. Like, let's say we hear of a quality that's bad, or we hear of a quality that's good. We look for it. So when we think about a situation and we try to make it like that, we look for what makes it that way. Even if we haven't had as much experiences, we like to link our own experiences, even very little ones, to those so we could feel like we get it. And I feel like that's another thing I'm doing. And now I'm thinking about it more and more. I'm acting like I'm an adult now, like compared to when I was 12, which is funny because I'm just 17. I'm still a kid. But like now I think I'm here to accept that I don't get it. And I think I get it because I don't get it. That might be random. I'm running out of space, so I'm going to post this video soon. But my main point is, this is what I've been thinking about Martin Luther King Jr. is because, I don't know, because like blacks were a minority, and I've been thinking about this more and more. They're minorities, and I feel like that's another reason why they weren't as like easy to protest until like people saw the effects of it. It's not that people are selfish. People don't really do things about it until we realize it affects them. Not because we're specifically selfish. You could say we're built to be that way because we are, but it's not exactly just being selfish. It's because we see things when we know how it can affect us. When we don't see it affecting us, etc., etc. I don't know. And I guess this is what I've been thinking about when I was at the bath, is that I think one thing I should learn is that I don't get it. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about this kind of things, and I think this is something that makes me want to separate myself if I think about being a social activist, is I don't get it. There's a difference. I'm not like Martin Luther King Jr. I'm getting really political with this shit. But whatever. I feel like when I was younger, I'd like to think I get it because I know it was good. And I think that's another thing. I don't get it. I haven't been through their specific struggle. I feel like when I heard he was like good and this and that, I was like, oh yeah, he's good. It must have really sucked for all the black people. And I guess, I don't know. This video might be taken down for what I'm saying. I don't know, man. I just feel like now, the more I think about it, when we hear about what is bad and we hear about what's good or whatever the heck, I feel like we think about how it could be by relating to ourselves. But I feel like in the end, though we have our opinions, I think the best, in my opinion, is that I don't really get it. Now, with that out the way, what I do get, or what I think I get, is what I'd like to talk about next before, closing this video, because it's hella fucking long. So I do want to say that I do think now I'm accepting the fact that I don't know the struggle they're going through, because I think for the longest time I've been trying to think about it. But I do know that I have my opinion of what they're going through from what I heard. Because again, I do think that we like to think of the pain of others through what we heard versus actually experiencing the pain ourselves. And from what I hear, when I have my opinions of what I hear and what I understand, then yeah, I look at what Martin Luther King did was good. I don't know, man. I'm getting really political about this, and I guess this is what made me think about, which makes me think if I'm an activist, I could be a hypocrite. Because, I don't know, man. I have my own opinions on Martin Luther King, and when I think, off my opinions of what I think would happen from what I heard of what happened, then I would say he's right. Because I feel like if you're in a group of a minority, and you are like, I don't know, like, it's like no one listens to you. You're just kind of there. There's rules against you, etc., etc. Then I guess it's a good thing. I think it is a good thing to stand up. But I like thinking it's good because he stood up with peace. But I feel like that's another thing. I only am thinking this is good, not just because I think it's good, but because when I first hear about it, I'm hearing that it's good. I was raised literally like as a little kid hearing about this and not understanding much about it. And I think now, I don't know, I'm acting like I'm an adult and I'm not. I'm aware of the fact that I don't. As much as I think I do, as much as I think I understand that struggle. And it's the same with not just like Martin Luther King Jr., but I feel like it's the same if you like look at other things. I like to think of it with Jesus Christ, but we're getting a little religious there, and I don't want to get too controversial. But I feel like you think about any other situation. I can't really think of it. Maybe the Holocaust. I don't really know. I'm talking about dark shit. But I feel like when we hear about things that are bad and people that stood up in those bad times, we'd like to think that we get it because of what we hear of what we get. And I don't know. So when I do say that I have respect for those that did what they did during those times, I have respect for what I understand of what I think they have respect for. And I think that's the reason why I feel like sometimes there could be hypocrisy in being a social activist. I don't know. It's weird. It was just a random thought I had in the bathtub, and I feel like that's the thing. That's what makes us sometimes hypocrites, is that we don't usually get the actual experience. We can understand what we think we understand or what we see. There's a difference between being a spectator and being a player, the one that experienced it. And I feel like if the players experience something and the players are extremely influential and they have a stand, the spectators will have the same opinion. Whoever is experiencing thus experience whatever, how bad it is, and whoever stands up and whoever has the big crowd that makes people stand against it or above it or whatever, people are going to listen and relate and have opinions off of those people. We have our opinions, we have our ideas off of what others were. Those that, I guess, I don't know, created what it was like for us now. We learned about Martin Luther King Jr. in school, then I think, of course, kids are going to be thinking that, it's really good or like whatever. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think that we think things are good and we put ourselves thinking we know the experiences when we don't, because of what we learn. We take our morals from the past. That's why I also think it's brilliant when they say that, like, the heroes make history, the winners, because when they make the morals, when they win and they learn, then they influence that across all other social cultures or whatever, and we learn from what they learn, even if we don't actually completely get it. I think that's a thing. Why I think, I don't know, I've been thinking, I want to be a social activist, but I feel like that's a thing. It's hypocrisy. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about that. It's very political. Yeah, that's your boy Goody Drew. On his political video. See y'all later. Bye.